Hello. So this is our Thanksgiving practice, and I think for the last, I don't know, lots of Thanksgivings, I teach Humble Flamingo. I think actually both of you have been in that class. It is not an easy pose to even attempt. And then when you add on the layer that in this class that we do, we're pretty easy on ourselves. So we're gonna take it slowly and see if coming at it that way rather than having like this ultra strenuous practice, we're gonna see if maybe it makes it a little easier to get into the posture. Either way, it's just for fun. So we'll just do it and we'll just see what happens. And then you can teach your family how to humble flamingo. I don't really even know if that's a yoga posture. I read it in Yoga Journal like a decade ago. It was a Catherine Budig article. So whether it's I'm sure it's not one of the OG postures. So anyway, have 2 blocks and have them up toward what will be the top of your mat. We'll move them around a little bit, but we'll use them for our lunges and our pyramids. So find yourself in Sukhasana. And if you always, or if you notice, if you always start with the same leg in front, just put the other one in front. And let your hands rest on your knees or wherever they normally rest. And maybe we have palms up today. And let your eyes close. And we start to move from thinking and doing into feeling. First, noticing how your body feels today. Checking in with what is going on mentally. And making no judgments about anything that's coming up there. Just taking stock of where you are today. And emotionally, holidays can be really hard. And joyful and overwhelming. And all of the things. And as you explore all 3 of those places, adding in the question, what am I grateful for? And bringing that mantra, that question into each breath. What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And listening for the response. And carrying that response through your practice. Holding gratitude close to you as we move. Take one more breath. Let your eyes open if they're not already. Slide your feet out in front of you. Flex your toes. Sit up tall and see if that already activates the muscles in the back of the legs and the front of the legs. Stay up tall. The long spine. Start to slide your hands down your legs until you get to that place where you're going to start folding with your upper spine, and do that. And let your elbows rest wherever your elbows rest, or your hands rest wherever they rest. Keep your feet flexed if at all possible, or at least the idea of flexing. And bring your chin toward your chest. Very slowly. And just checking in to see what this shape feels like today. And slowly make your way back up. And come to hands and knees. And we'll come into cat-cow just like we do almost every practice, but really focusing on the cat shape, pressing into the tops of the feet, pressing into the hands, rounding the spine, tucking the chin, tucking the tail. And let the cow be kind of a place of relief. Pressing into hands, pressing into the tops of the feet, rounding the spine, tucking the chin, tucking the tail. Releasing the belly down. And one more time. Make your way to your belly. So maybe just walk the knees back. Slow roll down. That might feel really nice. And come up onto your elbows. Our Sphinx here just briefly. And stay up. Bend your right leg. Reach your right hand back. Take hold of your foot. And find your heel toward your seat. Whew. And you can do all of the things that we always do in this particular stretch. Press your hip point down, squeeze your buns, send your right knee down toward the end of the mat. You can totally do all those things. This, though, is just to get that shape of the bent leg. So it's not necessarily the world's biggest stretch. If you want it to be the world's biggest stretch, absolutely go for it. We're just trying to map the shape like we just did in Paschimottanasana with that forward fold. That's the crux of the shape. With that roundness of the spine in cat. And then this bent leg. Release your right foot. Bend your right leg. Left hand comes back. And press the heel toward the seat. And some days, you may not even need to do all the other little tricks. Just pressing the heel to the seat might just be enough anyway. But maybe it might be interesting to see what a long exhale and release changes about what you're up to. And release all the way down. Bring a cheek to the mat. Bring your arms down to your sides. Let that all absorb. Slide your hands under your shoulders. Bring yourself up to hands and knees. Bring your blocks as high as they'll go. And step your right foot forward in between the blocks. Send your hips forward and down. On your exhale, send your hips back, lift your toes up. So this is also super close to that shape. It's just in a different orientation. Send your hips forward on your inhale. And exhale, hips back, toes up. Left hip forward. And shift forward enough to undo the tension on that leg. Come back into hands and knees and bring the left foot forward. And sink down and forward into your lunge on your inhale. Exhale, send your hips back and your toes up. Hips forward, chest up. And hips back. And undo that as much as You need to come back to hands and knees and into child's pose. You can do whatever you want to with your arms. So then this partially mimics the shape too. We have the rounded spine. We have both heels toward the seat. We'll only need one. And we have the thighs close to the chest. Come back up. Hands come to the blocks again. Right foot steps forward. Back toes turn under. Straighten your back leg. So you wind up in this high lunge. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, hips back. And leave your right toes down. Sometimes we will lift the heel, lift the toes. Leave the whole foot down. In fact, see if you can push your toes into the mat. It's not maybe gonna have all that much impact, but just see what happens when you try to put your whole footprint on the mat as you pull the left hip forward. And high lunge. And pyramid. And bend the back leg. Step forward into a forward fold with feet right between the blocks, hands on the blocks, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up into standing. And hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, soft knees, long spine, fold, hands to the blocks. Inhale, halfway lift, right foot steps back, high lunge. Straighten the front leg, keep the toes down. See if you can press the toes into the mat. And draw the right hip forward at the same time. Lunge, chest forward and up. Hips come back, pyramid pose. Back foot steps forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up into standing. Hands to heart. So if you haven't seen or don't remember what this humble flamingo looks like, let me show you. And I have some tips and tricks. So the idea is that we come into what is essentially this shape that I'm in. It's on a slant. So blocks will come behind you. I would, let's say line them up with your heel first and then slide them back a couple inches, maybe 4 inches, let's say. And come to a forward fold. And slide the blocks back as far as you can reach them while you're in a forward fold. And then step your right foot back. So you are in this sort of teeny tiny pyramid. Your hands are on your blocks. So the heels of the hands they're forward. Your wrists are forward. But the argument could be made that fingers are forward, or even, I think maybe sideways. So fingers off of the edge of the block to the right and to the left. So you see how my front leg is tilted back? I exhale so that like I'm in a pyramid, and I actively press down into my hands as I pull my right heel up to my butt. And it doesn't maybe last very long. So give it a try. Plant the front foot. Plant the hands. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, round. Press into the hands. Pull the heel up into the seat. And then step down. Oh, maybe walk that off. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So, right foot is in front. Hands come down. So we're kind of in this pyramid. You have your right leg at as much of an angle as you feel is appropriate for you. So this thing can totally be vertical. And it doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter anyway. So inhale breath. Exhale fold. Press into the hands. Lift the heel, the left heel, toward the seat. And step back. And regroup. Maybe get the weight off of your hands. And I do think that it makes it much easier and much more fun to shout the name of the pose while you do it. Maybe we should have done that from the very beginning. So take an inhale breath. Exhale, round down. Maybe another inhale to prepare. Lift the left heel up to the buns, humble flamingo, and down. See, doesn't that make it so much easier? Okay, come out of this pose however you are able. Walk the blocks away from you. Take a little break here. Stand up, send your arms up, roll your wrists. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Hands to the mat. Walk to a tabletop. Send your feet to the side so that you can sit. And we'll come into supported fish. with blocks or with a bolster, which I did not mention. And set yourself up. So we did all this folding and rounding and closing and humbling. Now we open. And lengthen. And be grateful. Once again, settling into your breath. And asking the question, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And listening for the response. Take 2 more breaths where you are. Take your blocks or your bolster out of the way. For 2 breaths without props on your back. Roll to your side. Find your seat. Send your arms out and up. And hands to heart. In gratitude, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.